Hello, and welcome to Your United Way, a show all about connecting you with your community. I'm Ashley Wright, Executive Director for the United Way here in Paducah and McCracken County. We have a great show for you today, and I want to start off by introducing our first guest, Georgann Lookofsky, who's the Public Affairs Manager for USEC. And I want to personally thank USEC for letting you come and spend a little time with us this morning. They are truly supporting the McCracken County community and are good friends to the United Way. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ashley.
Georgann wears a couple of hats at the United Way. First of all, she's a longtime board member, and this year is serving as co-chair of our campaign, along with Caroline Cordy. So this has been a very exciting and interesting year, I'm sure, for being part of the United Way campaign. And as you probably can assume, I'm also very involved in the campaign this year and working alongside Georgann, Caroline, and many other people in this community who are helping to make it a success. But I've asked Georgann to be here to share a little bit from her perspective as a community member and as a board member and chair for the campaign about how the campaign is going. So let's get started. Tell me a little bit about how you see this campaign going this year.
Well, Ashley, it's an exciting campaign. There have been some changes in the approach, and those seem to be working well. Of course, we, going into this campaign, understood there might be some challenges related to the economy, and we have taken that on. We understand that, my historic view from United Way is that most campaigns have a challenge of some sort. This one, it is broad spread and affects a lot of people. But what we really see is that in tough times, those people who can give tend to dig a little deeper. They realize that there's going to be a greater need in the community, and I believe we're seeing that. Some of the early campaign results, as you know, have been positive. We've seen some nice increases in some of our primary campaigns, and so that is very reassuring for us, and we're very excited about the campaign.
Now, there's probably people in the community who, even after hearing that, are going to say, okay, that's great, but you're wanting to raise another $1 million in the economy as the situation is. So how do you explain to people why we as the United Way board and volunteers set the goal at another $1 million?
Well, I would acknowledge, just as you said, that there is a process behind that. It's not an arbitrary goal, that the people working with the campaign work closely with the board, work closely with the campaign team to evaluate what is a realistic goal, but also to understand what is the need in the community. And because we have been fundraising at about this level for the past few years, we do not want to find ourselves in a position to have to cut back funding for some of our agencies who rely so heavily on the United Way to provide services for the people of Paducah and McCracken County. So for that reason, we felt we could not back away from the $1 million goal. We've stayed with that. I have confidence that we can reach that goal, and in doing so can help those agencies meet their needs in the community.
Now, tell me a little bit about you said there were some new approaches to this year's campaign, and we've probably talked about some of them on the show in the past, but I know we're doing the whole Live United, but what are some other things that we're doing a little bit different this year that have not been done in the past?
I would say we're excited about Live United. It is a goal that people can understand and get behind, the whole idea of living your United Way philosophy. It's not just writing a check, it's also volunteering, it's being active in the community, helping identify needs, and really a whole gamut of activities that go into helping build a strong United Way. So that definitely is a part of it. But one of our really exciting additions to the campaign this year is the Community Cares Card. And this is something we haven't had with our United Way campaign in the past. It's basically an incentive, or as I think about it, a thank you gift for those people who give. If you give as much as $156 a year, which is as little as $3 a week for those of you who are thinking about your weekly budget, you will receive a Community Cares Card. And that card is going to provide you with several really valuable discounts from local businesses. And these businesses have stepped up and said, there are several ways that we can help United Way, and one of those is by providing United Way's donors with a discount on services that, in effect, the Community Cares Card will pay you back for your investment in United Way. So, what an exciting addition in a time when people appreciate a little bit of help with their budget. So.
Absolutely. And if you want a full list of all of the organizations and businesses that are on that card, you can visit our website. I think one of the challenges that some new businesses in our community might face as far as saying, do we really want to participate in a campaign? Do we want to ask our employees to consider giving? Is that it is a tough time economically, but I think USEC and many, many other businesses around the community have seen the value in that for their employees. So if there is somebody who's listening this today and is interested in starting a campaign or how to increase the interest in a campaign that's going on currently at their workplace, what are some things from your perspective that someone can do?
Well, there is a give and take with any major fundraising campaign in a workplace, and the reason that I think so many companies have stayed with United Way campaigns for so many years is that, yes, they have a commitment to community service, but on the other hand, they gain for the effort that they put into United Way. You see an increase in morale. Employees like to be involved. Employees are proud of the fact that their company supports community service and supports a proud agency like United Way. They feel good about that, and so there really is a lot of value to be had. So I would certainly encourage businesses to carefully consider what a United Way campaign can bring to them. The other thing I can tell you is that there are an enormous amount of resources available to those people. All you have to do is go to the United Way website or call the United Way office. We'll be happy to send someone out to talk with you. They could talk to you about how to physically structure your campaign, how much time it would take, how you could set up payroll deduction, which is always the easiest way for employees to give. And we can essentially bring you a campaign in a box that will make this an easy effort for you, and one that I think you'll see real rewards from down the road.
Well, thank you so much, Georgann, for spending a little time with us today and sharing your enthusiasm for the United Way in this year's campaign. And we'll be right back with our next guest on Your United Way. Hello, and welcome back to Your United Way. I have my guest, Lisa Heine, who is our Marketing and Communications Coordinator for the United Way, as my next guest with us. We're going to kind of shift gears a little bit. Georgann and I spent some time speaking about the campaign this year, and now we're going to talk about what everybody loves, the holiday season. This year, the United Way is participating again in part of the Christmas in the Park light. I think we do Walk Under the Lights, is that correct?
I'll Walk Under the Lights.
And so I've asked you to come and speak to us a little bit about what exactly is Walk Under the Lights for those people that don't know.
I'm really excited about this year's event. It is at Noble Park. I think we've participated with Paducah Power the last 2 or 3 years, and we will be doing it again this year. It's hard to believe that the holiday season is already upon us, but it will be here before we know it. On December the 6th, it's a Saturday. I believe it's the first Saturday in December. The park will open at 4:30 in the afternoon. That's when we'll begin our registration. The park opens, but the gates close because we're not going to drive through. We're going to get to walk through the lights, and we'll begin the registration, like I said, at 4:30, and then we'll walk between 5 and 5:30. So we would like to encourage families to come out. I think it's going to be a great time. We're going to have hot chocolate. Santa Claus will be there, so we'll have to make sure and bring our cameras. And then we're also asking families to bring canned goods as kind of their entry into the event.
Okay, so they can bring canned goods. If they don't have canned goods, can they bring a monetary donation?
Absolutely, absolutely. We would also encourage that as well.
Wonderful. And so you just arrive at 4:30 at the park?
Yes.
And sign up, and we'll, I'm assuming, have booths set up for people to register.
Yes.
And then it's just an opportunity for people to enjoy the lights, I guess, in a different way than they have in the past.
Yes. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially for families, to get to walk through together, really take in the lights. I know that Paducah Power, the light display has grown, I think, every year. I remember as a child driving past Doc Hicks's home. Those same lights are in the park. I know that they've also purchased the lights that were in Metropolis, and the display just keeps growing every year. So I think it will be a unique experience to get to walk through the park rather than drive. I think you'll get to take in a lot more as a family.
Now, the United Way participates in this, and one of the big reasons that we do is because of the cans that are collected and the good that that does in the community. Now, when people go through and deliver these cans or drop off their monetary donation, what can they expect is done with those?
All the cans and the money is collected through Paducah Power, and then they distribute those to 3 different organizations: the Family Service Society, the Paducah Cooperative Ministry, and the Salvation Army. So those will be divided throughout the community.
That's wonderful, and then I'm assuming the funds go to also purchase those canned goods.
Yes.
And at the end of the walk through the lights, then what can families do afterwards when they get done walking through the lights? What event is going to happen at the end?
We will have hot chocolate, and then we had mentioned before Santa will be there.
I heard Miss Claus might be there as well.
I think that she may make an appearance as well. But it'll just be a fun time for families to get together, have their picture taken with Santa Claus. And especially with the backdrop of the lights, I think it'll be a really good time.
You know, one of the things that I really, really love about this event, I think, is because it ties together so much of what the United Way encourages. One thing, the volunteerism, I know that it takes a lot of volunteers that the United Way has to get together to put this event on. So we'll be asking for volunteers in the community to help take the cans and help make sure that people are going through the park. But I think that one of our focus areas is strengthening families. And I love the idea of families coming together, spending this evening, and it's essentially at almost no cost to a family to participate.
And I think, too, it's a great teaching experience for families with their children, as far as, especially getting into the holiday spirit and giving back to their community. They will get to take in a lot for fun. I think the kids will get to have a lot of fun, especially that time with Santa. But it will also be a great learning experience for them to collect those cans before they come into the park and then be able to make that donation to a family in need.
Well, we're really excited about this event, and why don't you just, as we were wrapping up, let everybody know again the date and time, and I'm assuming they can find out more information on our website.
Absolutely. If you just visit www.unitedwaypaducah.org, we will have a full list of the information. But again, it's Saturday, December the 6th. We'll open and start registration at 4:30.
Great.
So I would like to encourage all the families in Paducah, McCracken County to come join us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. I have with me Pam Truitt, who's the Executive Director for Family Service Society here in Paducah, and I'm so excited for you to be here for a number of reasons. It's exciting to have you here to talk about what Family Service Society does and a little bit about the Christmas project that you all put on every year, and that's kind of in keeping with our holiday theme for this show. So first of all, there's probably some people in this community who don't know about the Family Service Society, and why don't you tell them a little bit about what you do?
Okay. Family Service Society is a local agency, and we like to call ourselves a local agency who helps local people. We've actually been in this community since 1927. We were established in December of 1927 to help fulfill a need within our community. A lot of times people think that we are a state entity, but we're actually not. We're a local nonprofit. We were established by local business leaders to help fill a need. The types of services that we provide are We help families who are in emergency situations. We provide crisis resources for families who have different crises in their life. That might be help with food, clothing. We also do utility assistance. We can also assist with medications, dental, transportation, and we also help distribute the eyeglasses through the Paducah Lions Club. So we offer a wide variety of services to assist the community.
How do you qualify, if someone is watching, how do you qualify for services from Family Service Society?
You do have to be a resident of McCracken County. Depending on what service that you're needing, we do ask that you bring in a photo ID. We also ask for a Social Security card. We also want to know what your household income is, as well as your living expenses. We have to determine that there's a need.
Sure.
And so we ask for the families to bring those items in, and then we would assist them with whatever need that they have. Of course, if it's something that's outside of our range of service, then we always refer them to another agency here in the area.
Okay, wonderful. As we have kind of talked a little bit throughout this whole show today, there is certainly a growing need in this community and actually around the country. People seeking services. Have you seen that increase as well?
Yes. You know, we're seeing a lot of first-time people who come in and need the services. There are people who have been laid off. A lot of times people will need the food just to make it through the month. We see families who are on fixed incomes who need to come in and get clothing, food, assistance with their utilities, assistance with medications, dental assistance. I think a lot of times we take for granted that we have health insurance and dental insurance. And so we can assist families who have fallen on a hard time and you know, just to help them get through that crisis in their life.
I know, you know, we're very proud to have Family Service Society as a partner agency with the United Way. And can you just explain briefly what funds from the United Way, when they're given to Family Service Society, what they are actually used for?
Yes, we do receive funding for utility assistance, and of course that is to help families with gas, water, electric. We also do get funding for food and clothing, and that is to help supply food in our food pantry and clothing in our clothing closet throughout the year for families. We also receive funding for dental and prescriptions. The dental is for emergency dental, and then the prescriptions, a lot of times we have families who will go without their medications because they just, if it comes between their prescription and food, a lot of times they will choose the food before the prescription. So we can assist with those things, and that's where the United Way, you know, without the United Way, we wouldn't be able to provide these services.
Now, you said that a lot of times if someone comes in and you can't meet their needs, you might refer them out. Do you work in conjunction with other United Way partner agencies?
Yes, definitely. The other United Way partner agencies will often refer to us, or we will refer to them. And you know, it's almost like family. A lot of times we're very close knit. If a donation comes in that maybe we can't handle the volume, a lot of times we will refer that out to the other agencies within the United Way.
It's wonderful to see that partnership, and I've had the privilege of seeing how well you all work together and really seeing what we can do in our community when people come together and not just section off what they're going to do, but actually work as a team. And so
we support each other, and that really means a lot to have that support.
Sure. Well, you know, Lisa spoke earlier about the canned food drive that goes on at Noble Park every year, the Christmas in the Park, and then our part is, you know, one day out of the Christmas, of the time that the Christmas lights are up. But you're one of the agencies that receive the canned goods for the whole event. Right. And tell me what kind of an impact that makes on the clients that you serve.
Well, actually, the canned goods that we receive through Christmas in the Park, it helps sustain our food pantry for many months. You know, we will get the canned goods December, January, and I know we still had canned goods from Christmas in the Park up to April.
Oh, wonderful.
The time of year that we really have a need in our food pantry, of course, is the summertime. Often children are out of school. They're usually getting 2 meals at school, breakfast and lunch, and then the families are having to do those meals during the summer. So we often have a need in the summer. And this time of year, people think about giving canned goods and food because of the holidays. But the need is all year long.
Sure, yeah.
But we certainly are grateful for the food that we do get through Christmas in the Park. And, it helps feed many families throughout the year.
Wonderful. So I'm sure that there were specific things that you would love to have as far as canned goods.
Right.
Can you, I know we're hoping that people just bring whatever they have, but if
Right.
people are going to make a special effort to bring something specific, is there a type of canned good that you would encourage people to bring?
Well, green beans we often get an overabundance in. I know we might still have a few trays of green beans still left over from last year because that seems to be the majority of what we get. But vegetables, any kind of canned meats like canned chicken, tuna, anything that might have protein in it, beef stew, chicken and dumplings, those types of things are very popular. Soups. And it doesn't always have to be a canned good item. We take anything that's a non-perishable.
Okay.
So mixes that you would keep in your pantry, those are welcome as well.
How often can someone come in for food assistance with Family Service Society?
Our families are eligible once every 30 days to come in, and what they get, we do distribute USDA commodities as well as our donated food.
Okay.
And the donated food, of course, is what we get through Christmas in the Park and just through the different food drives that we get throughout the year and the different donations we get throughout the year. So we will put together a food bag of the commodities as well as the donated food. It's not intended to sustain a family for 30 days, but it is intended to supplement that family's food, their own food pantry throughout that month. So we try to put as much in there as we can, a variety of things. We will often get meat through the USDA program,
Okay.
frozen meat oftentimes. So we do have freezers and we do have the ability to keep frozen items on hand.
Okay, wonderful. I'm sure that's a luxury for
Yes.
many people to have that.
Right.
So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit again and talk about something that you all do that impacts literally hundreds of people in this community every Christmas time, which is your Christmas project.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, we're actually taking applications this week, the last week of October, and also the first week of November. And those applications are being taken at the Salvation Army on Irvin Cobb Drive. Last year we took around 800 applications,
Wow.
and we distributed those between the Salvation Army and ourselves. What we do try to do is get sponsors for these families. Churches, businesses, different organizations will often come together to sponsor a family at Christmas. Those who do not get sponsored, then Family Service Society will take those families. What we typically do, we will try to get toys for the children, at least one outfit, and then food for the family through the holidays.
If somebody would like to sponsor, they're saying, their workplace or their civic group or whatever would like to sponsor a family or multiple families, what do they need to do? And about how much money is someone going to have to look at as far as investing in this project?
They will need to call our office to get a family, and our office number is 443-4838. They can call us or the Salvation Army. Either one of us will take sponsors for our families. As far as price range for a family, of course that will be dependent on the size of the family.
Sure.
And it really just varies by the organization. I would encourage you, once you select your family, to call the family and see what their needs are.
Okay.
See how many children they have and see what, is their need more for clothing than it is for toys? Is there need more for food than anything else? And just kind of get to know your family a little bit and just help support them throughout the Christmas season.
If someone doesn't necessarily want to adopt a family but would like to bring items, can they do that as well to be included into the?
Definitely. We have several churches who, we have one church in particular who throughout the year will work on doing Christmas items for families. They start at the end of Christmas. They started last year at the end of Christmas, and they'll get a lot of things that are on sale, and they store them and they'll put them together in packages to be delivered to the families.
Great. Now, there are a lot of organizations that might take names for people that are in need during Christmas time. How can someone be sure that the family that they've adopted from Family Service Society is not also being adopted at different other locations?
Well, Family Service Society is actually the clearinghouse for the Christmas assistance here in the county. Every application that we take goes into a database. Churches and other organizations that do also provide Christmas assistance for families will check our database just to make sure that there's no double dipping going on, and just to make sure that that family does have the actual need. So that's what the clearinghouse was actually set up for, is just to make sure that that family is not taking more than what is needed.
Sure. And how long has Family Service Society been the clearinghouse for this project?
Well, I've actually only been with Family Service Society for a short period of time. I've only been with the organization for about 6 months, but I do know for probably the last 20 years they have done this. So it's been a number of years that they have collaborated with Salvation Army, and it seems to work really well. All of our organizations work very well together.
Well, imagine the thousands of families you've helped in the last 20 years celebrate a happy holiday season.
Right.
Before we end, I was just wondering if there are any specific needs that Family Service Society might have right now that if there's anybody listening that they might be able to help provide for you.
Sure. Well, we always need clothing. Right now, I know that our clothing room is pretty low in children's clothing, boys and girls from birth on up to probably 4 or 5. Ages of 4 or 5. We also have a need for men's clothing right now. Winter clothing, blankets. We have had several families who have come to us from the Dudley Court apartments. They don't have heat right now, and so they are in need of blankets. So we definitely have a need for any kind of winter item like that, blankets, space heaters we often take in. Food throughout the year, and of course monetary donations. Those help us, with other items.
Well, thank you so much, Pam, for being here and being part of our show.
Thank you for asking me.
And thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at our next show. Thank you.